This is Alan Rosinski, Principal Broker, Metro Manhattan office space. I'm back after taking a few days off and looking at the technical aspects of producing videos, which I'm a bit stumped. I'm trying to figure out iMovie, have some issues with audio on my A7 III, but gradually I'm getting there. This is produced on my iPhone. Hope you guys will all be okay with that. I want to thank Nick in Canada, who was nice enough to spend about an hour and a half speaking with me yesterday, explaining the ins and outs of YouTube. So I understand somewhat more what I'm getting myself into. I know, and I'm very pleased that Lewis is making progress with the lease. The landlord finally today issued the lease, which I think is about 58 pages. But those are commercial leases in New York City. Anywhere else in the country outside of New York, probably be about 7 or 8 pages, 10 pages, 5 pages in Europe. But it's just New York City. Very good for attorneys. You have an accepted offer, which is 2 pages, listing the essential business terms, somehow has turned into 58 pages. I'm sure, and I hope, that Lewis has a good real estate attorney. Now, you may ask what a good real estate attorney, how I would qualify a good real estate attorney. In this case, I would say it's an attorney who has specializes in commercial leases in New York City because they're so particular. The language in leases is very particular to New York. And an attorney who can really focus in on the points that could affect a tenant or, Lewis in this case, what'll really make a difference. Because what a landlord is going to expect is to receive comments. They're not going to want 300 different comments. They're going to want the comments which are very, very important to the tenant. I mean, there's a degree that landlords will negotiate commercial leases, and the expert lawyers know what to ask for, how to ask for it. They don't go overboard, but they really focus on language, which can make a difference. Like, not asking for the word reasonable to be inserted 300 times, but just certain clauses can make a real difference. We'll see how it goes. I know also I'm hoping that Lewis has made some progress in identifying an architect who can work on the project more affordably. I recommended somebody who was considerably less costly. Hopefully that will be an option, that service, and I'm sure Lewis has other options lined up just to keep all costs under control. I received a really good question today from a subscriber by the name of SPL Eclipse. This is a question. I'd love to know what direct-to-consumer resources there are for someone seeking commercial space. With residential, there's Zillow at all. But is there something like that so that a client can get a feel for what their price range will get them and help them narrow down their wants and needs? First of all, I think Zillow probably is pretty good, but there's still a lot of information missing when you start researching listings. You're not going to know if there's a contract at. You're not going to know how many offers. You haven't actually physically inspected the property. I mean, it's good for an idea. For commercial in New York City, there's Craigslist, which it's Craigslist. It is what it is. It's the consumers are putting up, or owners are putting up listings. They may actually be out there. They may not. It's an idea, nothing more than that. There's also the major leasing companies like Cushman Wakefield, CBRE, Newmark Knight Frank, SL Green, which is actually a landlord. They're not a leasing company. They have websites and they have listings. But you can go on these sites and get information on listings, but you don't know if there's multiple offers on the listings, if there's leases out, what the loss factor is, what the landlord's going to do for you, what's in the lease, how negotiable the base rent is, what concessions the landlord is going to be willing to make for you to get you into the building, and these are really, really key points. So it's a starting point. I mean, I've always been an advocate. I am a broker, and it's in my interest to be an advocate for brokers. But I really think the more knowledgeable ones add a lot of value. So I think these it's difficult. It's not like what happened to the travel industry, where say 25 years ago you'd get your tickets only through a travel agency, and that's completely disappeared. Because, in my opinion, the travel agents don't add value. It's a very, very simple product, which is very easy to compare one ticket to the other ticket. It's basically just the price and whether you're traveling business class, economy, or first class. It's a product which is very, very easy to compare. Commercial real estate is a very, very complex product. You can't put it online and in 1 second really understand the economics of it because there's just so much involved. So I think you're always better off calling a broker. You can go to Craigslist, LoopNet, the websites, the major brokerage firms, and you'll get an idea. But it's going to be, I think, a very, very vague idea. And I think brokers are going to be around for a very, very long time because the better ones, the more knowledgeable ones, the ones who've been in the industry and have been doing deals for many years, they'll add a lot of value. So I hope that answers that question. I'm going to try to master iMovie and make these blogs more visual in the future. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening. I hope this is helpful.